when they ask why this at the association, how that at the association, what makes the difference at the, how come y'all can do so? It is not the programs. It is rarely the model, although it is with us because we're independent of the university. But what it usually comes down to is the fact that we have former students who are engaged and who are passionate about Texas A&M and passionate about the association. And so even though I've given a playbook to 24 alumni associations across the country on how to do it, at the end of the day, guess what they don't have? Texas Aggies, that's right. And so whether it's muster or just, you name the tradition, they've all struggled because what they don't have is passionate volunteer leadership like Texas Aggies. So congratulations to all of y'all for what you do for this great club in Texas A&M. So with that said, I want to recognize your leadership for 2021 and serve as your installing officer today. And as I call each of y'all's names, I'd like you to stand and remain standing. This is important. Remain standing. Oftentimes y'all try to sit down on me, but please remain standing until all names have been called. And with y'all's permission, Bob, I'm going to start with your board, if I could. Serving as 3-year directors, Michael Hardy, class of 13. I didn't see Michael here, another former employee of the association, served before Dave. Amy Jones, class of 92. I did see Amy. I know she's here. There you are, Amy. Mike Connor, class of 85. I just saw him. Bob Davis, class of 89, is over here, serving a 2-year term. Helen Jenswald. Wayne Russell, class 76. I saw Wayne, he came up. Serving as 1-year directors, Wes Henderson, class of 58, and Barbara and Bill Huffman. And I didn't see the Huffmans here. If they are, they snuck in on me. Those are your directors. Serving as your officers for 2021, your vice president for events and membership engagement is Ian Soares. And I saw Ian, class of 97. There's Ian right there. Vice president for scholarships and records, Mark Scarborough, class of 91. There's Mark. Vice president for publicity, Elena Becker, class of 10. Right there, Elena. Thank you. Vice president for membership. This is a shocker. Lisa Aldrich, class 79. We may make her a permanent VP at some point. VP for programs, Carl Orozco, class of 19. VP for finance, Larry Hugh, class 76. Oh, there's Larry. Past president, whether you elect him or not, he's going to be your past president. That's Chris Dawson, class of 14. President-elect, Dave Fujimoto, class of 17, who I know well and will serve this club very well. And last but not least, your leader for 2021, serving as president of the Brazos County A&M Club, Bob Palomares, class 73. It is my duty as installing officer to instruct each of you as to the duty that awaits you. It is the responsibility of each of the officers to become familiar with this club, as well as the bylaws of the Association of Former Students, and to perform such duties as are assigned. I therefore challenge you to pledge faithful and diligent performance of these duties to your office while promoting harmony and achievement within the Brazos County A&M Club. Will all the club members please rise? I challenge each of you to give your loyal support to these officers and directors and to do your part to help make this administration successful in all of its undertakings for 2021. Aggies, would you please join me in recognizing and congratulating your leadership of the Brazos County A&M Club for 2021. Congratulations. Y'all may be seated. Please be seated. You know, I try to start with thanks because I believe that's a big part of what has made the difference for the association. I do this with our team. Sheila, you can testify to that. Josh, you can testify to that. Ben, you can testify to that. It's important to thank people for what they do. And I'd be remiss going back as far as I do with this club to not thank each and every one of you for the difference you make for Aggies in Brazos County, but ultimately for Texas A&M. So please accept my thanks for all that you do on a volunteer basis to help make our university the great university that it is. We had some issues that I related to in 2020, issues that perhaps even in 40 years I'd never seen the likes of. Notwithstanding COVID, an election year, a polarizing year for our nation, issues came to Texas A&M that none of us foresaw. But I'm happy to tell you, as I reiterated earlier, I was visiting with John Junkins, our interim president, this morning for about an hour. And what a great guy and a great leader John is. I go way back with John. John was head of the search committee that brought Bob Gates to Texas A&M in 2001 and 2. Bob was a distinguished professor when we had to fight the battle of the 7 solutions for higher education. I'm surprised Van and Otway don't break out in hives when I mention that. But the bottom line on John Jenkins is he's a man of integrity. He's a distinguished professor. He is noble in his thinking. And visiting with him for over an hour today and looking in the rearview mirror at issues and addressing things going forward, I can tell you that John has my ultimate confidence. I enjoy working with John. He's been at A&M for 35 years now, and I think understands Texas A&M, but more importantly, understands our culture and Texas Aggies. So I'm very pleased to report that I think John Junkins will lead us well over this interim period. But throughout those issues, we've learned lessons at A&M, and a lot of those lessons are being applied in 2021. But at the end of the day, I want to tell you all what has made the difference. As I told John, and I told John Sharp, and I've told our board, and I've told Aggies that have called. Texas A&M is better today than it's ever been. When I look back and take a 100,000-foot view, whether it's the A&M College of Texas or Texas A&M University, I've asked many a former student this, particularly during the past year, but over my career. I think a lot of Aggies remember A&M as it never was. That's been my impression anyway, as I visit with a lot of Aggies. And I'm all about Old Army. I am Old Army. Half of our living graduates, as we sit here today, Ben, have graduated since 2002. So if you're class of 2002 and back, guess what? I'm here to announce you are Old Army. So we're a very young alumni association, but we're a very robust alumni association. But through all of these issues, as Aggies would talk, and mainly talk to each other, and deal with facts, as confusing as they may be on occasion, I think I messed up here. Let me just show you all a few pictures, and you may have already seen these. If you have, pardon me. If you've been to AggieNetwork.com, you can see most of these, but these are the most up-to-date, and in my opinion, some of the most compelling aspects of what the park will mean to the future. This is an overall view of the park. You can see the Clayton W. Williams Jr. Alumni Center down here in the right lower corner. You see most of the 20 acres that we're working on here. We hope to work with the Texas A&M Foundation on this area down here and have it be somewhat aligned with what we're doing in the park. It's going to have about a 4-acre lake. The lake will have a safety shelf. It will be, I think, at its maximum depth, maybe 15 feet. Marty Holmes tells me we're going to have trout and bass, and I don't know what else we're going to have in there. But apparently, we're going to have fishing there. But whether it's a performance pavilion here, the new building on top. You can see that the president's home is gone. This is the vice president's home up here in the upper right-hand corner. This lawn right here on game days is likely to be striped like an Aggie football field. And likely, if I have my way, we're going to pick Texas A&M here, and probably the opponent down there will probably have field goals where kids can play and pick a field goal. Gives you a little bit of a picture looking from our parking lot. We're going to have the nicest parking lot on campus, by the way. I've seen some of the plans. This is where you enter the park, and this corner down here that I'll show you in a minute, I'll take it from you, is going to represent a great entrance to the park. It's going to represent an entrance that you're not just coming off the street, you're coming into an experience. I'm going to point out something that I think is terribly important because it's never been done on the campus. The highest honor bestowed upon a former student of Texas A&M is indeed the Distinguished Alumnus Award. A couple of fellows over here represent that award well. While we have interactive exhibits in the Clayton W. Williams Jr. Alumni Center, we have to be open to deeply engage those exhibits. It is hard to tell a story unless you're online or you come into the building. So for the first time in the history of the awards since 1962, up here in the upper right, is going to be a tribute to the award and to the over 330 distinguished alumni who have been recognized with the highest honor bestowed. Shelley Potter, a former past chair, distinguished alumnus, is working on that with her husband Jeff right now, and the design should be complete by March. Y'all save your questions. I'll be happy to answer anything. The iconic Haynes Ring Plaza that probably is the most photographed part of campus, as I understand it today. You see this tree here, and you say, oh, there's no tree there. Well, there's going to be. We moved, I don't know how many tons that tree was. Marty has told me many times. We moved the tree. It was a backdrop for our groundbreaking. Ultimately, it's going to come and be permanently put into ground right there. Shades the Ring Plaza from the west sun and provide a great deal of aesthetics. This is going to be a green space. And what you see right here are pillars of the Aggie Network. There's going to be 24 of them. And these are going to represent Aggies that have stepped up to not only support the park, but have a great history with Texas A&M and are recognized as pillars of the Aggie Network. Pretty good pic of the lake. You can see the bridge. In my original vision, I had hoped that we'd have a bridge that was wide enough for game day, whether it was the Corps of Cadets, the band, the Aggie football team to walk across. That may be accomplished over here on that big green space. I don't know. That'll be up to the athletic department and General Ramirez. We wanted to have a park that would be very engaging on game day. And in fact, we have planned for ESPN Game Day, SEC Nation. We may come to campus to have a static facility, and all of their technology needs are met. And you won't see trucks and cables and wires and satellite dishes strewn all over the campus. This is the amphitheater, by the way, right here. You see the amphitheater, the building, and then somewhere in that grove of trees is the Denny Creamery. This is the Great Lawn, as I refer to it. And it will be available for tailgating. Our plan calls for us to have the lease on the land for 3 years. We have an extension if we want it for another 3 years. We could have the land for as much as 6 years from the university. But our goal is to keep what we need to in our private groundways to encompass the Clayton W. Williams Jr. Alumni Center and the new building for Ring Day, and then give the rest of the park back to the university as appropriate for them to own and operate and maintain. These are the pillars that I mentioned. This will be a view from the new building looking towards the Clayton W. Williams Jr. Alumni Center. That will be dramatic, I promise you. This is the current schedule. I mentioned May of 21, we're going to begin on the park. The building will hopefully start by 2021. That's all relative to design completion. And we hope to complete the park by May of 2022. I can tell you that is an incredibly aggressive timeline. If the park is functional by September of 22, I'm going to be happy. We'll just have to wait and see. There's a lot of moving parts. And then the building, we say November of 2022. I'm going to tell you, do not hold your breath on that one. But we do want to have the first Ring Day in the building in the spring of 2023. So that is our goal. And this is the website. If y'all want to keep up with it and see what we're doing and how we're doing it and how you might participate, that is the website. I think that's it, Bob, in terms of slides. So let me conclude with that. That's pretty exciting, and I hope y'all will all find it as inspirational as I do. It's going to mean a lot to the future of Texas A&M, but most importantly, it's going to mean a lot to future generations of Aggies. So thank y'all for having me here today, and Bob, if we have time for questions, I'll take a couple. If not, I'll sit down. Any questions or comments? Sometimes I get more comments than questions. Yes, sir. My understanding there is. That was the original plan, to be honest with you, back in the 90s, because of some of the challenges with the house. Now, I wasn't involved with that. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I've just heard that. It was a pretty tired house. It was pretty aged. I think the university was thinking about putting a lot of money into it, but we were told, at least this is what I understood, university presidents weren't going to live it anymore because it was so dated and it didn't fulfill a lot of the things that a university president needed to have in terms of a president's home, but be it events or privacy or what have you. So do what? Will we make our own ice cream or will it be Bluebell? What do you want? Exactly. Yeah, I want our own. I want Bluebell. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll take a poll and see how that works out. Maybe both. Maybe both. The good news about being independent is we can decide what it's going to be. I'd like, to be honest with you, I'd like to have the College of Agriculture get more involved in this project. Any other questions or comments about anything? Lisa. Well, I'm not going to bore y'all with drainage talk, but I go way back with drainage as well. Bee Creek particularly. We paid for a lot of that because the university and the city didn't get along in the 90s. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
One thing as far as the relationship with the alumni, I grew up here. I attended Mrs. Lighthouse Week Aggie Land Kindergarten.
Okay.
Anybody lived in San Antonio for 35 years. And anybody's organization called Del Webb.
Right. We have a staff member that lives there.
Coming back here, visited a couple of retirement communities around here. And they said a lot of Aggies want to come to
Yeah.
They sell out everything they can make,
Yeah.
not only here, but they can do it in Alabama, Oklahoma, any place they want to do it. But anyway, as far as the association is concerned, the Village Region, the alumni, some way to facilitate that.
When I took over in January of 2000, one of the first meetings I had was with the Marriott Corporation, who came to see us about a 3-stage development plan. And it fell apart. I do not know why, but basically independent and then dependent and then healthcare. But I don't know where that ended up. So, but I think it's a no-brainer, obviously. You just look at the people coming back. I know the club has some business to attend to, so let me just end where I started. Thank you all for what you do for Texas A&M and Texas Aggies, and thanks for making a difference for all of us at Texas A&M. Gig 'em.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. It's always exciting to have you come up and speak to us. Gives us an opportunity to see some of the other things that we normally are not privy to. And it's just terribly, terribly exciting. We appreciate that. Thank you for taking part of your day today, especially in the conditions that we have today, for coming out here and being a part of this, this first luncheon of 2021. Thank you. Again, let's give a hand to him. At this time, I'd like to ask Chris to come up here and to present to us the financial information for 2020. You received some of that information already at the table as you were coming in, and if you have any questions, please review the information, and then he will be able to answer those questions for you. As he is coming up here, I'd like to really thank Chris for taking the lead in a very, very difficult year, which was 2020. I can't tell you the difference between the plans that we started and created in January and February of 2020 and what we actually did the rest of the year, beginning especially with what happened in late March. There were talk about having doors shut and very few doors open. We had to really work hard to explore any opportunities that would be available to the A&M Club here in the Brazos Valley. And Chris used a great amount of creativity and imagination to help us carry off the things that we did. We had to work so hard over the course of the year to get done the few things that we were able to get done. And it was with his great leadership that we were able to do that. So in recognition of that, I want to present Chris with this plaque, thanking him for his leadership in the year 2020. Chris?
I appreciate it. Thank you, Bob. I have to say, though, it's not without an incredible team behind me that I was capable of anything. They say the greatest leaders are only so great as the team behind them, and that's certainly true for the Brazos County A&M Club. I remember a number of phone calls, and I'm sure Bob and a number of people in this room remember a number of phone calls late at night with a harebrained idea and said, "Hey, I got this idea. Can we make it happen?" And sure enough, we made it happen. We pulled off some really incredible events, and we pulled off some really incredible ideas in a short amount of time, sometimes almost no time. But thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the club. I thought y'all probably all thought that you'd get rid of me pretty quick because, or y'all were excited to not have to hear from me anymore. But I do have to serve my last duty as 2020 club president, provide you the financials for 2020. So So like I said, our team, I have to thank our team continually because our team was single-handedly responsible for stopping as much of the losses for the Brazos County A&M Club as possible. They thought out of the box. They made some creative decisions and provided us unique opportunities to mitigate as much of our losses as possible. And I'm happy to report that out of our normal budget of nearly $200,000, we only lost $11,585, which is an incredible job on behalf of our team. We did pull in $29,295. The cost for those events that we did have was $9,797, leading to a gross profit of $19,005 and expenses of $29,005. There were some expenses that in the first part of the year, we were saddled with some expenses that were holdover from the previous year, so that didn't help us at all. But again, thank you to the team. And I'm available after the meeting if anybody has any questions. But again, round of applause for 2020 and our officers, because that is incredible. A $12,000 loss in a year like COVID is incredible.
We have at each of the tables, we have a card that shows some of the events that we have scheduled tentatively. And I say tentatively because things can change in a heartbeat. And so what we're looking forward to this year is trying to begin to develop some sense of normalcy over the course of the rest of the year. And so we've had several people, Ian especially, involved in helping to put together our howdy hours. We're working to put together our speakers for the luncheons for the foreseeable future. And we're going to continue to announce to you and share with you some of the other events that we're going to have over the course of the year. One of the biggest events, and probably the most endearing event to me, is coming up April 21st, and that's Aggie Muster. And so we are going to, we're already making plans. We started making plans in December, I think. And so we've been contacting different venues. I know that the university has ceased having any gatherings on the campus. And so that's going to require that we do with Muster, unless we're told differently, we're going to be required to do the same thing with Muster that we've done with our luncheons, and that is to have a different venue so that we can go ahead and continue to honor the greatest tradition that we have as Aggies. So we will start looking for volunteers to help us out. We are actively looking for venues to help accommodate the gathering, and we will continue to give you more and more information as we learn what Muster 2021 is going to look like. So I appreciate everybody's cooperation. We are looking for great volunteerism from the club members in 2021, and we're asking that you, especially if you have not renewed your membership for 2021, please do so. We have cards out in the front that, and Lisa has some cards also that you can sign and turn in your membership. You can also do it on our website. So we have a number of ways that you can renew your membership or place a membership with the Brazos County A&M Club. Lisa, do you have some comments?
And this kind of goes on part of what you were saying about membership in the association. As you see, most of our major fundraisers for the foreseeable future are happening. So if we want to continue to do our scholarships and do those things, help with the members, because people, we are social creatures. A lot of our Aggies are so thrilled that we're actually meeting again and able to see another person, and we're seeing the numbers of our luncheons grow.
Yep.
Because we do it safely. We'll be be doing muster that way. We have looked at several venues and there are ways to space out. But the best thing you can do for our club right now, help us grow our membership. I was talking to Roy Brad, and he said, I don't know if I renew my membership. A lot of people, especially in this COVID world, a lot of people just haven't thought about it. It hasn't been a priority. And so please help us get the word out that we need our members so that we continue to be able to do the things that we do in our community. Okay, please. Everybody, you remember when we did this several years ago when we jumped our membership? Everybody take 2 cards and go get a student member. Just take two of these cards. Because if everybody in this room gets 2 new members, gosh, we have 60 people here. What does that do? Please? Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And that follows right along with what Porter mentioned earlier, and that is we're less concerned about raising funds so that we can do some really wonderful things as part of our service to the community and to the university. But the more membership that we have, the more volunteers that we'll have to be able to provide service to through the events that we're conducting and to participate in helping the university and the association extend its reach and its influence in the Brazos Valley. At this time, we just want to thank everybody again for being here today. Our next luncheon is going to be on February the 9th. And our speaker at that luncheon is going to be former Congressman Bill Flores. So we will be looking forward to having him here to talk to us about his experiences that he had during the time that he was our representative. So thank you very much. Be safe this week and be healthy. Thank you.